Well, you know what? We had a great weekend, but anytime you have something good, you have to celebrate it, soak it all up, turn the page. Same as when you have a bad week. No, look, the rain just started. No, it's not supposed to rain tonight at Northfield. I'm just leaving the Meadows. Go away, rain. And I'm on my way back to Northfield. Now, a lot went on today. Most of it, I wouldn't say bad. Most of it, not the greatest. Nothing horribly pressing. So let's start right from the top. I get up this morning. I drove to Northfield Park. I wanted to train Brace for Landing. Just a quarter of a mile because he was in to qualify tomorrow. And I wanted to train Oh My Gosh. Oh My Gosh, a little lazy by himself. You know, I asked Jason to draw blood on this horse. The first day I trained him over there, I thought he was very good. Today he was just so-so. Won a mile in like 16 or 17. But he's looking great. And that's... Oh, it's really raining now. And that's just not Jason's barn. Shelby and everybody and Teresa, both Teresas, whoever took care of him before he left to Canada, did a great job with the horse. He looks good now. This horse is looking good, feeling good, and I think as we continue to he needed to be over here. As we continue to put this work into him, I think it'll pay off down the road. He's not going to be ready for a little while yet, but he will eventually be ready to go. And man, he looks like $1 million on the track, but I do need to see him do a little more work. Brace for Landing wasn't really great this morning. Was it the track? Was it the fact that he just shipped in? I had asked Jason to also take blood work on him to see what his liver looked like. We had that going around, and to see what his AST, his muscle count looked like, just to see what was going on. I didn't want to push him if he wasn't ready. And he didn't really feel awesome. You know, I said to myself, all right, it's a new day, not a big deal. We'll warm him up tomorrow. If he doesn't feel good, we won't qualify him. I spoke to the vet as I was leaving Northfield to head to the Meadows. I spoke to the vet and I said, hey, can you go over Brace for Landing and let me know what you think? Talked to Mike after the Meadows, and he had said, Anthony, his feet were hurting him pretty good, and his left shoulder was hurting him really good. That's weird for a 2-year-old, but very telling. You know, this, when you hear a vet tell you what he found was bothering him, then look at the race, and then his last 2 races even, and then look at the way he went about his training this morning. And I hesitated to say training. We only went a quarter of a mile. I just want to see if he felt good, which he didn't. He felt okay. But he felt like something was bugging him, biting at him a little bit. No lameness or soreness, just wasn't focused. Wasn't on his game today. After hearing the vet, it makes total sense. So he's not going to qualify tomorrow. We'll, as I said to Mike, the vet, you know, we'll give him 2 weeks. I'll school him over here. The next time you see him go behind the gate, I suspect you're going to see a much more new and improved Brace for Landing. But it's going to be 2 weeks. And as I said to my partners, to the vet, to everybody, there is no rush with this horse. He has paid in every stake race on earth, and I don't want him going behind the gate until I know he's at his very best. That's when you're going to see Brace for Landing again. I also told the vet that Carter Michael Dio was coming over here this week and that I wanted him prepped and looked at on Friday. I am flying to Chicago. We'll talk about that in a second. I am flying to Chicago on Friday. When I come back Saturday morning at 9:30 when I land, I will go to Northfield Park and train Carter Michael Dio. That's if he vets out perfectly on Friday, which I assume he will. We just came back from our vet. I'll train him, then I will go and drive Bomb Hugger at the Meadows. I was torn on Bomb Hugger, but it's only a few hours, right? And 4 hours difference between me getting home at 4 or me getting home at 9 or 10 is the difference between me driving Bomb Hugger, and by home I mean Ontario. Saturday we don't got a lot going on. Sunday I don't know what we have going on. But I did want to go and drive Bomb Hugger. I trained her the other day. I thought very highly of her. And I want to train her. So as I'm getting to the Meadows today, now we have Brace for Landing, not qualifying tomorrow. We have, oh my gosh, kind of flat training. I get a call from Dominic that Red Overbach was flat training. I saw his blood work last night. His blood work reminds me of a horse that would be very flat. Now this is important because he was supposed to go to Ottawa on Sunday. Hot, hyper horse. Blood work wasn't great. Didn't train great. Guess who's not going to Ottawa on Sunday? But Dominic said mechanically the horse was perfect. Did his work very well. Just, Anthony said, I watched his replays. He was very hot. He wasn't hot today. He was the opposite of hot. So it's just a matter of getting his blood proper. His red count and iron were very low, which I talked to Dave Benary on Monday at Scioto. He was there with his colt, and he told me a little bit anemic. He said, he's very finicky. He said, honestly, he just wasn't fitting in. I tend to believe what he said and take it at face value, because what I saw today, what I heard from Dominic, what I saw in his blood work, it matches up with exactly what Dave said. So he won't be going to Ottawa. Now, this may actually impact Resolute Bay and Renegade Gypsy also, because the reason we decided to go was that we were going to take all three. I was toying with the idea because I thought that would be a good spot for them to maybe get an easy division, but I did a little investigating, and I heard a couple other people say, I might go to Ottawa because probably a lot of people won't go. That's the same thing I said. So if everybody does the same thing, guess what? There's going to be a boatload of horses show up in Ottawa. So I don't know. I'm going to talk to Mario. I'm going to talk to Harry tonight. The entirety of the Ottawa adventure, the entire endeavor may be scrapped. I ate something I ate. No. I just had a great pizza. For those of you who live, well, you guys know probably. It's a place called Plomodero in Wexford, Pennsylvania. It's right on the way onto the Ohio Turnpike. Man, that was fantastic. Got this pineapple drink from Starbucks. Aside from what took place, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't awesome. Good drink. So the entire endeavor for Ottawa may be scrapped. I'll let you know tomorrow morning. That's number one. I get to the Meadows. I turn on Buffalo. Excited. Silent Assassins racing. It's easy to forget, right? My partners, you guys don't forget about her. Makes a break with the hobble. This filly never runs. Ever runs. So somebody sent me a message, please just take her home. I can't take her home. She's in the middle of Sire Stakes. There's nothing physically horribly wrong with Silent Assassin. Taking her home would be literally giving up, which I don't think is fair. I sent her there. You guys were there. You saw the screw up at the hobbles, their first start. That wasn't anybody's fault. Well, yeah, it was somebody's fault. It was the judges and paddock judge at Grand River. It was also mine for not noticing, everybody for not noticing, but why would you look? We know we qualified her with hobbles on. Why would we need to look it up and verify that? We knew. We were there. Well, I wasn't there, but the horse was. Debbie was. The driver was. So we had to race her with no hobbles. She made a break. Okay, fine. Here's a filly that's wore hobbles her whole life. And had to race with no hobbles on. Her first lifetime start. Okay, fine. She made a break. It sucks. It's unfortunate, but we move on. Get the hobbles on her. Away we go. Put the hobbles on her. She made a break today in Buffalo. If there was ever a horse built for Buffalo, it's Silent Assassin. So I don't really know what took place. I talked to, so afterwards, Mark, Melissa Beckwith, were going to leave the filly with Ryan Swift. Now, Ryan Swift trained Bomb Hugger for us in New York. Very capable lady. Smart lady. She said Jim Morrell drove her. Mark didn't show up. Now, in fairness, normally I would strip off Mark for not going, but Mark's wife had an appointment today, and Mark couldn't go there. He was driving a lot more than our horse and couldn't go there. So Mark was off today. Jim Morrell Jr., who's a fantastic driver, drove her and just said she just didn't feel super comfortable in... Oh, there's an accident up here. Didn't feel super comfortable in the mile and made a break in the first turn. I said, okay. Touched her jack, which it'll happen. There's trotters. Lots of them do. Said, make sure she has the high trot boots on and make sure her hobbles are tight. I said, further to that, I'll be there on the 20th. So if she has to qualify her. If she doesn't have to qualify her, I don't know how long we're going to be here for now. If she doesn't have to qualify, then just school her and tighten her up, and I'll be there to drive her on the 20th. So I know my partners on Silent Assassin are a little miffed, and I'm sorry, I'm miffed too. But I mean, it's I do the best I can, and I just couldn't be in Buffalo today. And if you had said, Anthony, on a list of things 1 to 10 that you have to do today, Silent Assassin would be somewhere around 10. Not because I like her, just I thought she was safe. This affiliate doesn't make breaks. So, I'm going into the paddock now. Brace for Landing was mediocre today. Blah. It was a little flat. I just got the news that Red Overbach trained flat. Oh my gosh, trained flat. Silent Assassin made a break, and I'm like, oh my god, it's going to be one of these days, is it? Now keep in mind, we're dealing with a horse that made a break in Buffalo that shouldn't have, or an unofficial training trip that was very telling but mediocre, and then 2 training trips, again, that were very telling but mediocre. So on the official side of things, as of right now, at that point in time, we only had a break in a stake race, which was frustrating, but nevertheless, it's over with. I get to the track. I'm thinking, I talked to Hunter for a minute about Fashion Presidente, and I look at the program quick. Austral Hanover's the best horse in the race, I believe. I can see how the race is going to shape up. I know Brady's going to leave. I know that Mike Wilder's going to leave. If I land in the 2-hole, protect the 2-hole. If I land in the 3-hole, quarter pole to the front. I already know how it's going to shake down, and I don't think there's going to be much deviation. Austral Hanover, believe it or not, has turned into a rock-solid performer and has looked very good of late. But keep in mind, this is a horse that was terrible his whole life. I don't want to stretch him out for the sake of $14,000 when he's going to race for 20, and it's not just the 20. He's racing for points next week. Trotting in 56, 57, I'm winning a Stallion Series with him. As handy as he even was today, I find it very hard to believe he'd be outmatched in a Stallion Series. Now, keep in mind, we have a lot of powerful trotting colts, so maybe other people do too. I go out of there exactly how I thought it would. I kind of angled out at the quarter pole because I didn't want, if Mike was going to force my hand and come out of the 3-hole, I'm coming out of the 2-hole. I'm going to clear to the front, and I'm going to let Mike go. I'm sitting now in the 2-hole again. That's what I was doing at the quarter pole. Mike decided not to move his colt, probably for the same reason I didn't, because there's stakes coming up. It's the start of the year. So I stayed. I liked where I was. Now I'm behind the only horse I got to beat, and I'm pretty sure I can beat him. So I'm very, very confident at this point. Now, I look on the TV because I want to see where Hunter is, sitting 5th behind a horse. Maybe he'll flush out Mike Wilder and get a great trip. Maybe, I know Ronnie Gillespie's probably going to come. What a pretty horse that was, too, the one that won the race. Beautiful horse. Aaron's was a nice-looking horse, too. I hear the horse coming. I look over, Ronnie Gillespie. I'm thinking, my biggest fear at this point is that Fashion Presidente is going to lose his cover early. We start down the backstretch. I'm in a perfect spot. I'm happy as a lark right now. Austral Hanover is now relaxed. He's quiet. I think he even knows he's going to win the race, or thinks he is. We're both sitting pretty chill right now. I'm watching out of the corner of my eye. I'm watching Fashion Presidente because I know he gets on that right line and can get a little rolly in the last turn. So I'm watching him out of the corner of my eye, and I hear Hunter, hey, and I see him start to grab the right line, and I'm like, don't do that. Don't. It looked, Hunter had him in a perfect spot. It looked like he was going to win. And he would have had the jump on me. I don't know if I could have caught him, to be honest. I think if Fashion Presidente doesn't run, I'm 3rd. Because I have to come out. As it turned out, Brady Brown's horse was not on his A game. Didn't bring his A game today. He was done. Ronnie Gillespie had him collared before we even came close to the head of the lane. With Fashion Presidente on his bumper, I don't get a jump on them. I think Fashion Presidente beats that horse. Worst case, we're 2nd and 3rd, but I'm 3rd. But you know what? I don't regret it for a second because Austral Hanover has turned into a nice little horse. He was sprinting all he could go, and he wears a lot of weight up front. As this horse grows and matures and his stifles start to fill up and he starts to get stronger, I think we could have a nice horse, and that's shocking. But it's such a great feeling to know that at least at some point, the work that we put in, even to a horse like Fashion Presidente and Austral Hanover, who both looked present, but not effective all year. I mean, Austral Hanover, all jokes aside, looked terrible all year. We did our best to, but this is why we continue to work. This is why we continue to work and work and work on the horses, because you never know what is going to happen. You put the work in, you teach them all the same, you put the same amount of work in, you put them behind the gate, and you know what? Sometimes you get a surprise like Austral Hanover. And Fashion Presidente, give the colt a break today, right? He was just, he was in a bad spot, he panicked a little bit, and he just rolled off stride. He won't be in a bad spot next week. And that was the right spot to be in. Hunter Myers drove the horse perfectly. Just in that particular moment, he got running in a little bit, probably get up on top of that roller burn, just got a little uneasy with himself, didn't know Hunter. Maybe if I was sitting behind him and he knew it was me, maybe he would have been all right. I don't know. But I can assure you, Hunter Myers drove the horse perfectly. Both colts were very good today. They're both going to race in the Stallion Series next week, and I think they'll be very, very effective in the Stallion Series. I was happy with Fashion Presidente. I was very happy with Austral Hanover. I think he's going to turn into a nice horse. And don't kid yourself. What else is going on next Wednesday? I'm going to make a little prediction. Spitfire Overseas, 7-1 morning line. I'm not betting, man. I'm not going to bet. But 7-1 seems to be... Well, I guess looking at his lines, he could be. I can tell you this much. He's ready to trot in 56, 57. How's that? So you take that for what it is. In my opinion, especially over that track tomorrow, if it's hot and Fashion Presidente behaves, which I assume he will, I don't think there's enough under the hood to beat him. Not in there. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I know how good Spitfire Overseas is. I know how good he feels. I know how good he trained the other day. I told you guys about Crantini. This guy was right up along the same, not as fast, but right on the same pathway. Very strong. I could feel his head start to get screwed on straight. I really let him rock. He didn't go a mile and 2-2, but he went a very, very big last 3/8 of a mile at the firm. Even if he's a little bit short, I still think he's very effective tomorrow. So next Wednesday, I will have Carter Michael Dio screwed in tight come next Wednesday. He's coming to join Jason's barn for a few days. I'm going to fly back from Chicago. We'll get to Chicago in a second. I'm going to fly back from Chicago on Saturday morning and train Carter Michael Dio. We will have a very clear... Ooh, my goodness. That car flipped right over. We will have a... Oh, I see what took place here. Slipped the poor bugger. Oh, it's a lady. She's okay. We're going to have a very clear idea of where we're at with Carter Michael Dio come Saturday morning. But I suspect between us tinkering with him Saturday morning, the veterinarian being right here on site looking at him on Saturday morning, I think we'll have Carter Michael Dio really ready to rock for Wednesday. And that, again, we had paths with this horse. Yes, James wanted to keep him in Ontario and wait and protect him until the Hout, because that is the end goal with at least 2 or 3 of these colts. It just didn't work out that way. At the end of the day, it's one thing to talk the talk. It's another thing to walk the walk. And he has not walked the walk yet. He's clearly an extremely fast animal. But where's the brakes coming? They're speed brakes. They're high-speed brakes. But why? Why are they happening? I'll have an answer for you on Saturday afternoon of that. I can almost guarantee you. Spitfire Overseas in tomorrow. Super excited to watch this, to drive this horse tomorrow. And then Crantini will be in town with Scott Zeron and Megan Schramm also. So we'll have, and don't forget about my boy Enzo. Where do we race Enzo? That'll be up to Enzo. Race him in the Stallion. I can race him in the Sire Stakes. I can race him wherever I want. I don't think anybody's going to trot away from him. Not yet, anyway, because he's handy. But his liver count is still high. I told you guys it takes a long time to get this count down to normal. His was still 3-4 times the normal limit the other day when we took it. Now I'll take it again before he ships on Friday morning. But it is what it is. So he'll race tomorrow night. I told Jody that his liver was a little high, that we're working on it. You may not be able to get him. I don't think you'll see 105% from this guy tomorrow. Aim for 90. Use your best judgment. I think that's fair for Enzo and Jody. So where do we race Enzo? That'll be up to Enzo on Thursday night. If he looks a little bit flat again, fine. Just put him right in the Stallion Series, his first start. But we'll have 3 that I would be dumbfounded if they aren't in the Sire Stakes on Wednesday. Carter Michael Dio, Spitfire Overseas, and our boy Crantini. Stallion Series, got lots in there too. Austral. Now, that's assuming Enzo goes to the Stallion Series, where he may not. He may go to the Sire Stakes also. But either way, we still have Austral Hanover, who's poised to trot 56, 57, which should be enough to get him into the winner's circle in the Stallion Series with any sort of draw in a fair field. Fashion Presidente is good enough to trot 57 right now. I believe he's already trotted 57. And did it the right way last week. Made a little mistake today, but he'll get over that. So we have 6 colts racing next Wednesday, and all 6 of them I believe will be in high gear come next Wednesday. So that's what's going on. I said I was going to Chicago. I opted to go to Chicago. I want to go to Chicago, get these horses hung up the way we want them hung up for the summer, and then if I can't go back, I can't go back. But I thought it was important to at least be there for their first stake race. The one that I'm missing that has really, really bothered me a lot was Horn Player. Horn Player is a filly that I love quite a bit. And I talked to Mike Wilder about her for about 10 minutes today. She just did a pop-up overnight with Sister Solange. So really just step one. I know she made a break her first start in against Una. We'll scratch that one because of the wind and because of the break, and she'll get another crack at them here at the Meadows. Now the reason she's over here, she couldn't get in Ontario, and the Meadows is another place where if you make a break off a qualifier, you can still race. So I like that rule. That's why Horn Player's here. So we'll have a catch driver on Sister Solange, Horn Player, and Dustin Hanover on Friday, as I'll be flying into Chicago to drive Rosita's Dream and GJ's ATM. Saturday training Carter Michael Dio, going to race Baumugger, and then going home to Ontario to see my family. I don't know what's on after that. I know we have some grassroots Monday at Northfield, but I don't know if we're anywhere Sunday. Wouldn't that be crazy if I had a day off? That'd be awesome. Anyway, 21 minutes talking about a day that wasn't really. We had a fantastic weekend. Probably the best weekend ever for the stable. Definitely the best day ever for the stable on Monday, July the 4th. Followed it up with a ho-hum day. We Cat won. Had a winner at the fair. The fairs were okay. And then look at that, Cat won for the Beckwith family. Last race last night. And then today, a great race by Austral Hanover. An unfortunate break for Fashion Presidente, but I think they'll be few and far between this year. And then the same thing goes for Sound Assassin. I don't know what the hell that was, but I suspect, and if I have anything to do with it, that will not happen on the 20th. So I will let you guys go. I'll talk to you soon. I'm on my way back now. Got to drive Smoking Hot Irish Girl and Coupe de Ville tonight at Northfield Park. Should be a lot of fun. I will talk to you all very soon.